Cruella de Vil.
Right, let me pull up the IMDb.
Cruella
That was beautiful. Chills. All right, I'm ready to go, man. We are recording. It is on you, Tyrone.
Oh, damn, we've been recording the whole time? What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of Mostly Wrong Opinions. I am Tyrone. That gentleman right there with the awesome Braves hat, that's Devin. What's up, man?
How's it going, man? Thank you for noticing the hat. I've only been wearing it for like 19 weeks, so.
I know, right? What we got for you today is our Kobe coin. On the Kobe coin today, we got number 24, and that movie is represented today by Cruella, starring Emma Stone. All right, number 8 today is a movie that's on Netflix starring, is it John David Washington, sorry. John David Washington called Beckett. That's a new movie that's out there, and we're going to flip the coin and let fate decide what movie we are watching. You ready?
Sounds good. I'm ready, man.
All right. Shimmy, shimmy.
Shimmy, shimmy. I'm hoping for Cruella, so.
I'm hoping for Beckett. Break down. All right, ready?
So one of us is going to be upset. All right, go ahead.
And the movie that we are going to be reviewing is Cruella de Vil. Cruella de Vil.
I was born brilliant. Born fast. And a little bit mad.
Okay, so Cruella is a Disney live action movie based upon the book of 101 Dalmatians. Also supposed to be the prequel to 101 Dalmatians, talking about the villain in 101 Dalmatians, Cruella de Vil. Now, did I see this movie back in the day? A long time ago when it comes to 101 Dalmatians. Do I remember it? Not really. I just know she was...
What kind of childhood did you have?
Nah, man, I was like Power Rangers and Big Bad Beetleborgs and all that stuff, you know?
But before that, you had to be in the 101 Dalmatians.
I was.
You just had, because when the kids are rowdy, your mama was like, shut up. So she would turn on 101 Dalmatians and you be quiet.
I have a friend of mine. Her name is Kat. I've known her for a little while, and she has a Discord. And this is one that she streamed. I got it on the stream. I'm like, shoot, I might as well just watch the movie because, you know, everybody, you know, is streaming right now. You know what I'm saying? I got to review it a little bit later. You feel me? So I fell asleep. I redid it, and I watched it again. And I have to say that I was actually kind of surprised with this movie.
I was too. First of all, every time I start a movie, I look at the runtime, and I'm like, this movie's like 2 hours long. I'm like, about Cruella? Not even the 101 Dalmatians, but Cruella? So I'm like, okay, that's kind of long. And then it gets started, and I felt like Cruella was a little girl for eons. I was like, oh, this is painful. Yeah. Oh, I can feel myself squirming. But then the movie kind of started to come together, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So at first, like you, I was kind of out of it, but it kind of, I can't lie, it kind of got me, and I actually ended up enjoying this more than I thought I would.
Yeah, well, her real name was Estella. Yeah, Estella. But she was, like, on the inside of her, she was a problem child. Okay?
I don't know if she's a problem child, but she had a wild streak, right? And so I kind of liked that too, because this was clearly, obviously symbolized by her hair. It's one half white, one half black. There seems to be a duality within Estella. And I'm like, I see what you're doing, Disney. It's on the nose, but I see what you're doing. All right, okay.
There's a light side and a dark side.
So yes, you're right. Yeah, exactly. There was, within her, there is the battle between Estella and this darker side that her mother jokingly called Cruella. Mm-hmm. And as the movie goes on, Cruella becomes a bigger and bigger force in her life.
She becomes a bigger force. I compared this movie, the style of this movie, to a late 60s or 1970s film of Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah, it's very, very much. I mean, like it almost hits like almost all the story beats of a Devil Wears Prada up to a certain point. And it also kind of reminded me of Joker, where there's like a nice guy character, but he's got a little darkness in him, and more as the story goes on, his look becomes more fantastical, and he becomes more Joker-like. I felt like this was like a kid's version of Joker. If they could trim this movie down, I feel like in this movie is like it's like a steak with a lot of fat. You ever had like a really good steak, but it's got a lot of fat on it, man?
Get that off the edge, man.
Yeah, just cut that shit off, man. Like this movie was too long. First of all, her kid flashback stuff that should have been quick. It should have been boom, boom, boom through that. But nope, that lasted way too long. And also, this movie stops. The movie keeps stopping to play like music. Like it's got like this like. I was like, are they trying to sell a soundtrack? Man. Because it was annoying. It was annoying. Like the needle drop moment.
It was annoying, and it was annoying. But I appreciate the music selection because with being a musician, I'm like, oh shoot, there has no point to have car wash in here because no one's washing the car, but I like it. You know what I'm saying?
See, like, but how many times have you heard car wash in a movie though? You know what I mean? So they weren't doing anything interesting, all right? It's like the most base level. It's like she's being tough, and they're like, these boots are made for walking. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I get it again on the nose. So if the movie didn't stop to play it plays some of these songs like almost in full.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell? So the movie didn't stop to play all these songs, and if it was, they cut out some of the stuff where she was a little kid and trimmed this movie down to like an hour 30. I think there'd be a strong movie in here, man. I'm like, yeah, this is good, but it's like fat and gristle all around this meat of a movie. For people like you who, you fell asleep during that part. I bet you there are people who turned it off. They never got to the meat.
Yeah.
And which kind of sucks because it's better than you think.
The meat happens as soon as it's like she becomes working as a fashion designer for the Baroness, and the Baroness is played by the wonderful Emma Thompson.
Yeah, the Baroness was essentially Cruella de Vil, right? She dressed like Cruella de Vil. She had the house. She had everything. She was essentially Cruella de Vil. But we learn, of course, that this was really just like the person who inspired Cruella de Vil. In the beginning, slight spoilers, like we learn why Cruella doesn't like Dalmatians because her mother was killed by Dalmatians. And I was like, oh, this is so lame. But then they kind of make it make sense. The dogs were sick on her, but she didn't know that. But the dogs were sick on her mother. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. But I'm like, to just happen to be killed by Dalmatians, I thought was so stupid. Which is, again, I went into this movie knives out, ready to just start cutting. Mm-hmm. But after a while, it all coalesced slowly into a competent story.
Yeah, it was competent. The direction of it was pretty good. It was very beautiful. Cinematography wise, I do agree that even though I did like the music selection, the music was hampered on a little bit too much.
Yeah, if they just sold the soundtrack separately, then okay, great. But yeah, if you want to have music drops, again, we talked about this in previous episodes. Quentin Tarantino's much better at it. He's better at finding much more obscure songs that really meet the moment. This one, it was like they're trying to live up to these good songs, and I've seen better movies that use these songs better, and so now they're drawing comparisons which they don't want to compare. So I didn't really like the needle drops. Yeah. But you talked about the cinematography. I think most people for this type of movie probably wouldn't care about the cinematography, only because visually the movie wants you to look at the clothes.
Yeah.
This movie's all about fashion because we learned that Estella and Cruella, she wants to make high fashion clothes. So I don't know why I wanted to say fashionista, but I'm like, that's not the right word. That's not the right word.
Yeah, because even the Baroness herself is not even a fashionista. She has people making stuff for her and treat them badly.
Right.
Very badly.
Right. And the Baroness hires Estella to make clothes, and the movie really wants you to look at everyone's outfits. Once you look at their outfits, once you look at, like I said, Cruella's hair, and there's a lot going on in there. I actually really enjoyed looking at some of the clothes.
Yeah,
That's
some of it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give one spoiler, which was weird. The ensemble that she put together for this, but the way her entry was and her exit, I was like, yo. When she came out the trash dumpster, boy, I was like, oh.
Girl, the shade of it all.
That's true.
Like,
that's true.
Pretty fly.
She like threw herself out of the back of a garbage truck, and I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, it ended up being kind of cool. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool.
That's
Yeah,
dope.
she kind of mixed like low fashion street style with some sort of high fashion thing, and it was pretty cool. Like she'd like tuck newspapers into her dress and stuff like that. But it kind of worked out.
It was very stylistic. I kind of felt that they were hinting towards this, the relationship that she had with their henchmen, especially Jasper. He likes her.
And she seems to like him too. But the problem is, Jasper does not like Cruella. He likes Estella. But throughout the film, Estella becomes less and less important, and Cruella becomes more and more important. So their relationship is quite strained, which I thought was interesting. Again, interesting stuff going on there. I'm like, all right, cool. It all makes sense to me. One thing that I thought was interesting, though, is if you remember 101 Dalmatians, and you say you don't, but Cruella smokes a cigarette.
Yes, she does.
And she's always got a cigarette. But Disney has a no smoking rule in any of their movies. No one smokes in a Disney movie.
Damn.
Not anymore. So Cruella, who's known for her cigarette with like the long stick coming out of it, obviously she doesn't have it, so she's got like a cane, which I was like, all right, I can see the things that they're trying to get around some of the weird Disney rules.
I'm gonna go ahead and give my rating on this. Actually, I enjoyed the look of this film. I enjoyed the most of the acting, in this film. And the story towards the end is what gripped me more. The beginning, as you see, I told you. Sorry, Kat. I fell asleep on Discord of this film because I was like, come on. So I was impressed. So I'm gonna give this movie a 7.
I enjoyed this movie too. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I liked the clothes. I liked the whole fashion angle of it. I liked how they approached Cruella. She was like an actual character with needs and wants that I completely understood. I understood Cruella and I understood Estella, and I understood why they would be at odds with one another. For some reason, when I watched this movie, I kept thinking about No Sudden Move, which No Sudden Move feels like a much more like higher movie. It feels like it's like higher brow and smarter. But I was like, is Cruella de Vil smarter than No Sudden Move than a Steven Soderbergh film? And I kind of went. I've been spending like the week going back and forth.
I see what you're saying because. This has
I think yes.
This has somewhat of a caper feel.
Yep, yep. It is kind of a caper. Yep. At one point, they have to steal an object, and it's like a heist film type of deal. And I understood the stakes better here, and I understood some of the artistic choices they took. Like again with Cruella's hair, her clothes. I understood all that stuff better. With No Sudden Move, I'm like, why is the screen looking bulged out? Why did they shoot it like this? What kind of lens is this? I understood why they did those things in this film, so I was kind of surprised to find that I enjoyed this as much as I did. So you give it a 7. I too will give it a 7. Yep, a 7. And I have to knock off a lot of points for that length, that opening, and too many needle drop moments. The soundtrack, man. Oh my god. You pick one song and have that be the song, like "Kiss from a Rose" or something. Pick like one awesome song. Okay,
like they did.
But the rest of it, exactly. But the rest of it, save for the soundtrack. Don't stop the movie so I can hear these boots are made for walking.
Bing, bing, bing,
yeah, exactly.
One more time.
I'm
Bing,
like,
bing, bing, bing.
I mean, I was watching that stuff. I was like this. I was like,
It was like, come on. Get it.
Let's go. There's a scene where she I can't remember what song was playing, but she's like walking like up some stairs or down some stairs, and it takes forever. But you can tell it took forever because the editor is waiting for the beat to drop. You know what I mean? So she's like walking down the stairs for like 9 years while this song is. I'm like, oh my god. Okay. Other than that, though, I actually did enjoy this movie a lot more than I ever expected it would. I gave it a very solid 7. I was pleasantly surprised, and I love being surprised in films, because I thought this would be a trash film, a garbage film, but it's one that I actually recommend. I think it's a good film.
You know why he liked it, people? Because eventually it told its story. Okay.
Yeah, it took a long time to get there. It was a windy road, but we got there. It told a competent story that I understood. I understood why she wanted to steal that jewel. I understood why she initially looked up to the Baroness, but then at the end, she did not. I understood why her henchmen liked her so much, and then in the end, they were like, I don't know. I understood why she was against Dalmatians, and then later she was like, maybe they're okay. And like I understand this kind of stuff. I'm like, I get it, and it set things up very well for either a sequel or maybe a 101 Dalmatians film. It set things up really well. So I'm like, I get it. I see it. This movie moved. I feel like I'm easy, y'all. I'm easy. If your movie moves with logic, just have some sort of internal logic in your film. I love it.
Everyone else would think you're not easy.
I know, because people like flashing lights and stuff like that, and that stuff I find that boring. Fight scenes, I find that slow sometimes. So like I like a story. You tell me a story, and if your story moves with logic instead of like coincidence or something, I'm there. I'm with you. I don't even care what the story is, man. It just tell me the story. I'm there. So I enjoy Cruella.
All right, so I gave this movie a 7. Devin gave this movie a 7. We agreed again. So we say if you do have a Disney Plus subscription or borrow one from a friend, go ahead and check out Cruella.
I'm Cruella.
Next up now is what's in the theaters now. They didn't want to put this on Disney Plus. Okay. It is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
I told my men they wouldn't be able to kill you if they tried.
Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings, actually the Legend of the Ten Rings, has been in Marvel Cinema since the beginning of the MCU with Iron Man. And they tell that tale from then on to now.
There's another windy road right there where they've retconned it, they've undone things, but in this film they kind of try to smooth all that stuff over, all the messy stuff with the Ten Rings.
This movie takes place, I think, it's after the blip of Endgame. Mm-hmm. And it takes place where Shang-Chi and his friend Katie is working as valets at this very fancy hotel.
They're losers, right? That's kind of the initial point, that they're not living up to their full potential, and they are when they could be doing more, but they're just parking cars as valet drivers.
Yeah, they do talk about that. The scene where what's his name? Shang-Chi goes to Katie's family's house, and Katie's mom is always saying, "You need to do something with your life," and all this other stuff. And the Marvel beats that's in this film. It happens with the fancy powers and the awesome graphics, cinematography and all that stuff, and the lighting and the special effects and all that is all top notch in what a Marvel movie brings. The amount, I say, of kung fu and different types of kung fu is in here. Is what I came to the movie for initially, is see some great fighting, and it was in here in the beginning of the film.
Right. So, Shang-Chi in the comics, he has no power. He is just a awesome fighter. He's just a regular guy who's just freaking amazing. That's it. That's all you. Now, I don't say recently, maybe 10 years or 5 or 10 years ago, he like temporarily got powers. He got Spider-Man's powers, which is funny.
Ooh.
But yeah. But other than that, he can like channel chi, I guess, a little bit in the comics. But what's interesting about the comic about Shang-Chi is I've always associated Shang-Chi with the Defenders and Luke Cage. Ooh. Probably because they were popular in like the 1970s when like the kung fu craze was going on and blaxploitation movies. So I kind of to me stuck them together in my mind. And I actually thought this movie would be a good opportunity to like show some of that, show like Luke Cage somewhere in there, but I knew he wasn't going to. I knew he wasn't going to show
there
up
and make up for the story of
exactly,
Iron Fist.
From Iron Fist. But you know what? They should probably run away from Iron Fist. They probably shouldn't touch Iron Fist. I think Iron Fist, the character, is problematic. I think Iron Fist, the TV show, is problematic. I think they should just let Iron Fist be dead. But in this film, Shang-Chi is again a martial arts expert. At least he's one in secret. He's been trained from birth to know all kinds of ways to fight. And one of the good things about this film, I think actually it's probably the best thing about this film, is I think this has the best fight scenes of any Marvel movie.
Ooh, yes.
Marvel is, to me, their fight scenes are usually, again, Endgame is probably an exception, usually pretty boring. Because it's just a lot of lights and CGI and
big
flashy. yeah. And then when they punch, something kind of like blue light comes out of their hand or something, stuff like that. And there were blue lights and flashing stuff like that. But the fighting was shot more like a Chinese kung fu film, with actual humans like on wires, and it looked really, really cool. And I thought that was super refreshing. Yeah. When you compare that to other MCU films.
And you want to know the reason why it looked that way is because the mastery of Brad Allen. God rest his soul. He passed away earlier this year. And he's one who choreographed all the fighting. He did the choreographed fighting for The Matrix, and the cinematographer from The Matrix is a cinematographer for this film also. So that's why it looked kind of similar. That's why the fighting looked as close knit, because Brad Allen, he was also a part of the Jackie Chan stunt crew. That's why that bus scene is so reminiscent of Jackie Chan when you see Shang-Chi using his environment against every other fighter.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that. So if you're one who likes, if you like martial arts and you just like to see martial arts, some of it does get hidden behind typical Marvel stuff with the lights and the CGI. It does kind of get weird, and there's like a dragon in the background or some shit. It does. You
have to tell that story of the dragons, man. You got to.
I know you got to, but if you just want to see like some cool two humans fighting, like that looks awesome, that's in this film. Again, there's also the small army of graphic artists and CGI guys toiling away in like a windowless room. You can tell that's happening in this film too. Yeah. But the fighting here, I think, is the real winner. For me, what separates this film from any other Marvel movie I've ever seen, what makes it feel fresh, makes it feel unique, is that it feels very Chinese, which is different from these like super, super Western MCU films. And the fighting, I think it's incredible.
Yeah. The only part with the fighting that kind of got lost in the sauce with me was, and I don't mean the actual choreography of it. It was just that I could barely see it. Was when they were on the outside of those scaffold things. It's because it was really dark, and it was kind of hard to see each and every move. Which that scaffolding actually reminded me of Rush Hour 2, by the way.
Rush Hour. I was about to say it. I was like, say it.
Yeah, I said,
it reminded me.
Rush Hour 2.
It reminded me very much of Rush Hour.
Shoot, and Awkwafina even said, "Oh hell no."
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, she did. It's really funny. Yeah. So I thought the main actor who played Shang-Chi, I'm going to absolutely butcher his name. Is it Simu? Is that how you pronounce his name? Yep. I thought he did really good. I thought he was kind of amazing. But what's interesting is back in the day, back in the 80s, Brandon Lee was attached to this role.
Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa.
Because obviously in the 1970s, when Shang-Chi was popular, he was modeled after Brandon Lee's father, Bruce Lee. So who else would pick up that legacy other than Brandon Lee? And so at one point, Brandon Lee was in talks, supposedly, to play Shang-Chi in the 80s, but unfortunately he got killed. And the movie was shelved. The movie got picked up again when Ang Lee wanted to produce it, but after the Hulk was critically panned, it got shelved again. So this movie is one that's been picked up and put down, picked up and put down, picked up and put down. And I'm glad we finally got it. And it's interesting that we got Simu Liu, is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah.
Yep. It's interesting that we got him because he looks nothing like the traditional comic book version, like the Bruce Lee version, like the shirtless, black pants,
Right.
traditional version of Shang-Chi, which is, again, probably on purpose because the comic book itself was at times problematic, it's super racist, and a lot of that stuff, they addressed some of that head on.
Yeah. The mystical Marvel aspect of this, they do add in another familiar face from Marvel, Wong from Doctor Strange. He's in this, and the Abomination is in this, and the Abomination looks really different. Looks a little bit different because he has scales on the back, and then he's wearing pants like he did in the comic books, and
and he's got his fin ears finally because in Incredible Hulk he didn't have. I don't think he had ears at all.
No,
but in the comic books he's known for having like these ears that look like fins. But yeah.
And to me, it's not really explained in the film. Is Wong doing these fight tournaments for some type of reason to like rehabilitate the Abomination? Because they seem like they're friends for some reason.
Yeah, they seem kind of friendly. But I think the movie was smart enough not to dwell on it.
Yeah,
and this is to me the strong suit of the film. It didn't spend a lot of time setting up another film, right? Like, again, that's another thing Marvel does a lot. They spend a long time setting up movies that you're not currently watching. So this movie didn't do that. This was a Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings film, and they didn't, other than those few little cameos that you're talking about, and like the fighting ring and stuff with Wong and some little teasers at the end, they didn't really do much at all to like set things up for the MCU, which I appreciated because they just told a competent story.
One story. His father is Shang-Chi's father got the rings, which is played by Tony Liu, I believe, and which is the Mandarin. And he got those. Either they said he found it in a crater, and I know in the comic books it said that these rings were actually like it was found in like an alien ship or something like that, and in each ring, and it was actual rings that possessed a warrior soul. But in this film, it's just like the Chinese ring arm bracelets, and it seems like they only possess the power of like power and force and stuff like that. So
yeah, like what do the 10 rings do? I don't know. I was wondering about that before I watched the film, and after I finished watching it, I still don't know. I don't know what these things do, except for like put on the light show, I guess. And you can see people like things go whoosh, and then there's lights happening, and I'm like, what do they do? I don't know. I don't know what 10 rings do. But you're right. In the comics, the 10 rings are more like the Infinity Gauntlet, where each stone does something different. In the comics, each ring does something different, and it goes in your fist, goes in your hand. But I think they changed that up because they didn't want confusion with the Infinity Gauntlet. So all 10 rings appear to do the same thing. But you're right. Our main character's father, well, we don't know if he found them, but all we know is they were found. Yeah. They said they were found, and now we know that our main character's father has them, and he's had them for over 1,000 years.
Yeah, it kept them.
But their origins, we don't know.
Kept them young. And he used this power to gain, like leadership and rule over different countries in the shadows. And we see that the organization that kidnapped Tony Stark, that wanted to use Tony Stark's to build him, the weapons and stuff like that, it was actually the Ten Rings. That was the organization. The motivation for his father was, his mom was Shang-Chi's mom. And the way that they met, it was very beautiful. It was very Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon-esque. And it's meant to be that way. And
yeah, it was super cool.
It was that scene was really beautiful. And by the end of the film, we see that Shang-Chi has to stop his father.
Yeah, and I liked that. That's a kind of a change from the comics, where Shang-Chi was related to another character who was not Wenwu. Wenwu is a relatively new character. He was related to another character, but that character has long been considered crazy racist. So they got rid of all that crap and they renamed the character, and so they've essentially made it so that Shang-Chi is the son of the Mandarin, which I thought that's pretty clever to have like the main character's father be the antagonist. But instead of him just being some kind of stone cold killer or something, you're right. He has a heart. We understand why he's doing the things he's doing because of his wife, and I actually really like that. And the actor who played his father, I thought he kicked ass. Apparently, this was his first English language film, and like
he did
it was
amazing.
Incredible. Now, obviously he's been acting forever. He was in Infernal Affairs, which was the I believe it was the Chinese version of The Departed. Obviously, he's got a lot of acting chops. So I thought he did great. Oh, I forgot to mention, Michelle Yeoh's in here again from Gunpowder Milkshake, and she's given shit to do. Like I don't know why you would cast Michelle Yeoh in your film and give her nothing to do. I'm like, yo, you have a true athlete standing there. Let's do something. But in this film, in Shang-Chi, she's amazing, and I could watch a whole movie on that character and her village.
Absolutely.
Like, I thought she was a true highlight, standout.
Yeah, she plays Shang-Chi's aunt from the village where his mother is from. I did not think that Awkwafina was going to get annoying, even though I thought she was going to be annoying. She was pretty good. They gave her something to do also in this film, which is great, and we'll see from later on iterations of Shang-Chi and her character Katie on what she plays a role in the future.
And I agree with what you said about Awkwafina. She's clearly, obviously, she's an incredible actress. I believe she was nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah,
so
she was.
She's an incredible actress, and she knows how to toe that line of being kind of annoying but not too annoying, right? Like she stays right in that entertaining line. You're like, okay, this is still entertaining. Right, so yeah, I enjoyed her too.
Like I said before, it feels like a Marvel film. It's kind of like culturally driven for the culture for the Chinese culture, like Black Panther was for the African culture. But it fits very well in a nice pocket of Marvel cinema. So
yeah, I kept thinking about Black Panther, and I was kind of jealous, man. I kind of wish Black Panther had fighting like this. I don't know why they went to that CGI trash for the Black Panther.
At the end, that CGI was pretty horrible.
That almost killed the. That could almost kill the movie, and I love that movie. I was like truly moved in Black Panther. I hope that somebody was as moved as I was watching this when I watched Black Panther, because Black Panther was amazing. And actually, like I said, I think the story of Black Panther is better, but the fighting in this. Incredible. So if Black Panther, if you could merge these two worlds together, if we could get a better story plus this kind of fighting, oh my God, I think you'd have a killer film.
Yeah.
Killer. But that being said, this film is still very, very good.
Exactly. I'm gonna go ahead and give my rating right now for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. The martial arts was amazing in this film. The acting was really good. I'm going to give this film a 9.
A 9. Wow. I like this film as well, but I don't think I liked it 9 level. I think this is for me a 7.5. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I liked the fighting. I
You
liked
can't give it an 8.
our main
You can't give
character.
it an 8?
I can't give it an 8 because, I'll be blunt, it didn't stick with me. The movie I kind of forget some of the beats of the film, and I don't think it's important to see this film because it doesn't. If you want to, for like the overall MCU, it doesn't tie very much into it. It was only told like a solo story, which I liked, but the solo story itself was just like, alright, you know what I mean? Like the story itself was, straight. So, to me, it's like a solid 7.5. That's a good rating. That's not a bad thing. These are positive things.
I'm clearly, as you can see back there, I'm a Marvel junkie, with all my Marvel stuff on, with Black Panthers. So maybe I'm a little bit biased, and that's why I gave it a higher score.
Nah, don't ever apologize for your score, man. If you enjoy the movie, enjoy it. I hope my score doesn't rain on yours.
No, it doesn't rain
on mine. I liked the movie.
Don't rain on mine.
I liked the movie quite a bit. I enjoyed it, but I didn't think it was 9 worthy. I just thought it was good. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's an important film in general because I like it when there's not
there you go.
A thousand white dudes on screen at every. Dude, that's weird, man. It's really weird. Do you not? White people are not. They don't. There's not. This planet is not all full of white people. But if you watch movies, you think first of all there are no women and there are no people of color, and it's like, what the heck? Women are half the population. So how are they not half what we're seeing on film? Why are they all the same color? How come everybody on film looks like they could be blood related? Yeah. That is weird, yo. That's strange. So I like it when that does not happen. And I'm like, all right, cool, into it.
Oh man.
And think about the imagery we saw in this film with like the dragons flying around and stuff like that. Could you see that in like a white dude film? No, you can't. And so you got to see something new. And I really like that kind of stuff. That was amazing. So I like that kind of stuff. And I like this movie. It was really good.
Awesome, man. I love my friend Devin, man. He's so passionate. So, yeah, I gave this movie a 9. Devin gave this movie a 7.5. Is it necessary to watch, as in, the whole collectiveness of the MCU? Probably not. But I do recommend going to see it, though.
Yeah, but you should watch it because it's a good film. You will not be wasting your time. And I think it's worth. It was for me. I thought it was worth going to the movies for. So it felt like a big movie.
Yeah.
So
big movie.
Yes, it seems like a weird thing to say. It's like, of course, it's a big movie, but I feel like some movies you can watch at home and it's fine. But this I felt like I got more from watching it in the theater and listening to my crowd. My crowd. I had a lot of Asian people in my crowd. They were cheering. Like I had a really energetic crowd. So I really enjoyed it.
Half movies on HBO Max is not really worth it. But what? We're just gonna leave that there.
Yeah. It's like, I'm just gonna put this right there.
This film, go ahead, get to the theater if you can. You feel safe. Put your mask on, and then remove it to eat your popcorn. Go see Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Is this what you wanted?
We'd like to thank you for clicking on this video. Again, my name is Tyrone. That is Devin. And if you can do us a favor, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with everything we do right here on Mostly Wrong Opinions. And we are putting out everything. We're putting out some rewind episodes. We're putting out some reactions to What If. They're already there right now. Go ahead, check them out. Please do me a favor. Do me the biggest favor and hit that like button, okay? Or you can hit the dislike button if you want to, whatever one you want to do. It is your opinion, but just remember, it is mostly wrong. You guys have a good day.